You can have scenes in your stories that only really make sense later, but they still should feel sort of naturally part of development of the story. If it's not gonna serve a plot purpose right now, it needs to serve another purpose. Could be character development, could be theming, could be anything. This one doesn't serve any purpose. So even if it has like a plot importance later, right now it just feels like it's completely out of nowhere. Every scene of your story should matter. Ideally, it serves several purposes. It pushes the characters forward, gives character development, it pushes the plot forward, it helps the theme. Ideally, you want all three of those things in every scene. That's the perfect scene, covers all three things. You can't always have that. Sometimes you have to push the plot forward and that's it, right? Because you need to get the characters to a certain place or whatever. So sometimes you will have a little scene that's a bit weaker and that's just there to move the plot. And sometimes you will have a scene that doesn't really move the plot forward. Maybe just characters talking to one another. And it's just about the character development or themes or whatever, right? Again, this does nothing, literally nothing. I understand that what this scene shows us is that this Gordi Kramer guy has a very powerful father and he can pretty much get away with anything. That doesn't mean it serves a purpose in this particular story though, because the story is not about Gordi Kramer. The story has nothing to do with this, for all I know. I assume he's not the killer because he obviously, he directly said he was, which would be weird. Now, the fuck do I know? It felt like he was just messing with Shelby by telling him that shit. Yeah, taunting him, exactly. But, and that's what I mean, like I said, maybe this scene could mean something later if it connects somehow. But right now it feels completely disconnected to the rest of the story. Thematically, plot-wise, character-wise. The only link is that guy maybe kidnapped, murdered, whatever, a kid. That's the only link. It doesn't feel like it's really part of the story because it's not doing any of the three important things a scene needs to do at least one of to be part of your story. Otherwise, just cut it. This feels like a scene I would have in my first draft because I'm thinking that it maybe helps with pushing the plot forward or something. And then when I read my first draft again, or my editor reads my draft, they're like, yeah, this scene means nothing. It needs to go. But for some reason it's still there. I don't know. I'm again getting the feeling like I did in Fahrenheit that David Cage's stories are poorly edited. People are not telling him you should cut that shit. It doesn't fit in here. Just do something else instead. In a game with multiple choices, every choice should lead to something that feels meaningful. But yeah, I don't know. That scene to me was probably the weakest scene in the game so far. This was the weakest Shelby scene so far. And Shelby had been so far the most interesting character to me. Like it felt like we were doing interesting stuff with him. But hey, maybe it will mean something later. We'll see. For now, I'm giving it a strike. That scene was trash.